All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, speaking to a fighter with a big tilt going to Bellator 238. It's going on January 25th, a strawweight bout, and we've got Emilee Gettys taking on Ava Knight, and I've got Ava on the show right now. How's your day going so far there?
It's going great.
Oh, that's awesome to hear, and I'm curious how you're feeling after the MMA debut a few months back. It seems like it went really well, all things considered. You got to get some cage time in there, and then ultimately got the finish in the third round there. So, what were your thoughts on how that fight went off there?
I'm really happy with the whole fight. It was good that I got a little adversity of being on the floor and taken down and getting back up and getting kicked. And, I got a little bit of the whole world of MMA in that one fight. And it just showed that everything that I prepared for worked. And I got to do everything I wanted to do, caught some mistakes and cleared them up and finished the fight how I wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like you're very excited to be on this particular card in your second foray with Bellator. It seems like you have a real level of admiration for a lot of the women on the card, like Chris Cyborg and Julia Budd. How cool is it to be part of something like this that represents such, proficient champion level women fighters? It seems like a stacked card in that regard.
It's really cool because, coming from boxing, things like this just don't happen. And we really don't get to showcase our skills like this. So when I get to go to an MMA fight and I get to be part of something that I think is so great, where two women are leading the whole card, it's amazing to me, and I'm glad I get to be a part of it.
Yeah, it seems like there's a strange divide in as far as like the perception in women's boxing, although that seems like it's changing as of late. Have you noticed those differences in terms of like how I guess MMA fans perceive women fighting, and as far as like not describing it as like a niche sort of thing and just treating it in that sort of way?
Yeah, it's a very good feeling going into MMA and feeling all the love that I've gotten, and it didn't matter where I came from or what I looked like. It really was, or even if I was a man, or a female. I was just a fighter. In boxing, we just don't have that respect for the same work ethic, for women. So it's different. You have to prove yourself 10 times more, and even that sometimes is not enough. So I'm really happy that I get to be part of a sport where women actually get to be on the same level as men.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, speaking to the present women's boxing landscape, it seems like there's a lot of really great talent now, like Amanda Serrano, Clarissa Shields, Cecilia Brækhus, Katie Taylor. I mean, there's a lot of great names. As much as there's still, work to be done for sure. I mean, is this like one of the more fruitful periods in the history of women's boxing?
I think this is the most progressive. Back in the day, I know right before I turned professional, Layla Ali was out there. When Layla was out there, we had a lot more fighters that were televised. It was people who were opening up for Mike Tyson, who were women, and that was a big era for women's boxing. They were making good money. But then all of a sudden, when Layla Ali retired and those girls, got older, everything changed. So the minute that I turned pro, we were just back burners. We were the people who started the whole card for the least amount of money, and they just wanted to get us out of there. So it was really hard. But seeing how boxing is changing now for the women is really good. I'm so happy to see all these women doing very well and making a career out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And talking about your opponent in this fight here, I mean, it seems like they've got like a decent enough amount of experience, a commensurate level of experience that your last opponent had. And I was also noticing they have the 3-fight win streak heading into this bout. Have you been watching much tape on your opponent? Is that something you kind of allocate to your trainers more so? And I guess an extension of that, what are your thoughts on your opponent's skill set?
So I'm never the kind of person who likes to watch my opponents no matter what I'm fighting, only because I don't want anyone inside of my head. I want to think about me and making me better at all costs. But I do like that my coaches study what I need to be working on, and that's what they focus on while I'm working out. So it's just, I guess, a different world of me just trying to focus on all of my positive abilities and working out little natures that I need to get rid of, and knowing that I have a girl who's just as good or better than the last one, and on a good win streak, and she does do other things that I probably am not as well rounded in, and it's just another challenge that I know that I'm going to have in front of me, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and I mean, historically, you've had some great people preparing you for these MMA fights. I'm kind of curious, are you still kind of like getting in some work at, Extreme Couture and whatnot? And to that point, like, who are some of the main people you're, I guess, training with ahead of this fight here?
Yeah, so I try to mix my camp up. I have really good sparring and really good coaches here in LA, and then going home and taking a few weeks out at Extreme Couture and having Jay Havon and Randy there to make sure that all the new sparring that I get in there is good and well and everything is going right. So it's just a really good circle of talent that I have around me, both coaching and sparring partners that I get to be with, and I'm excited to see what I can do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great people in your corner and just helping you progress and everything. And it seemed like you had a pretty quick turnaround with returning to the boxing ring, just like a couple months sort of time. I'm sort of curious, are you looking to maintain a similar kind of schedule throughout the coming calendar year in as far as like alternating between mixed martial arts and boxing, like you take one bout in each discipline? Like what kind of schedule would you like for the year of 2020?
This year I want to focus on MMA. I think I have more studying and work to do and just well-rounding myself and getting on the ground and throwing kicks and checking kicks. I think there's just more to that world that I really need to focus on more. I've boxed my whole life. I know it like the back of my hand. So I think that, though the girls are getting better at boxing, there's still nothing that I haven't seen that I know that I'm going to be real worried about if I were to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. I get what you're saying in that regard, but to the point of, focusing on MMA, it seems like very much you have title aspirations within Bellator, but not as of yet. They obviously have strawweight bouts, but they haven't seemed to like establish a champion as of yet. Has Bellator communicated anything to you at any point of, I guess, future goals to sort of do that? Because I think that would be a great addition to the company.
I think it's been very fortunate that I've been able to come in and fight at a catch weight that's not in, they don't have a 115, but I think it would be great for them to have one, especially, I've heard there's other girls that fight in Bellator that are smaller, who probably don't want to fight at 125 because we don't weigh that much, walking around. So I think it's a great development for us smaller women to get something like that, and it's a dream of mine to have. I want to become the champion of Bellator, and then come back and win a boxing championship. And I think that would be amazing and great for history for women in sports. But I think right now it's just trying to get as many wins as I can so I can get them to think about opening that up.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that you're back at the Forum in Inglewood, California, much like where you were at with your first foray into mixed martial arts. Does anything like that inspire any kind of confidence at all, or is each fight kind of like an isolated sort of thing and there's not any kind of thing like that? And as far as like you have a certain, I guess, like vibe with the venue or something like that, like does that create any level of confidence, or is that kind of just like a non-factor more so?
The venue really doesn't have anything to do with the way that I think. I know it's a big deal. Obviously, if I were to fight there in boxing, it would have been huge, but I didn't get that opportunity. But I know fighting in MMA and at the Forum with all the great champions that have been in that stadium is amazing. But at the end of the day, I'm there for a fight. I think about the fight. I don't think about the people around me. I don't think about anything that's going on except me and my opponent.
Yeah, I guess you have to have that like hyper focus when you're out there and you're, getting things going on that end. So I understand what you're talking about in that regard. But I was also noticing you've got some interesting kind of connections from what I can tell. Like I saw you had a bit of a pose down with Dave Bautista there, saying you had the big man complex and didn't think Bautista was that much bigger than you. How is it to sort of interact with people like that? It seems like there's a lot of, real celebrity types that kind of like to hang out with you and just support you ahead of bouts.
It's great. Honestly, they're all just normal people who just do great things. And to me, it's great having their support, knowing them. But at the end of the day, they're just good people who want to be there for me. And that's what matters to me. And I'm so happy that I have people like that. But the whole big man complex, Dave is a huge man. But I still was 10 feet away, and I was like, man, I could take that guy. Which I probably couldn't. But, I have that problem in the gym because I don't know how much people weigh, but I always think that I can beat them up.
Oh, well, I mean, that's probably what brings you to the dance, though, right? Just having that, like, champion mindset, overcome obstacles and all that.
Yeah, exactly. No problem. That's probably, I hope that's what it is. The other one, what am I
No, I think it's great, but I also like your boxing analysis you do on Twitter and stuff like that. Like how you were saying during the Areola Kaunaki fight that Kaunaki looked like a Polish Majin Buu, which I thought was a great description. You a big Dragon Ball Z fan?
I am. My boyfriend got me into that, and I just got stuck on it. But I just knowing that the whole cartoon is just about martial arts, and obviously there's superpowers, but just the lessons that I've gotten just from that show are amazing. That's why I just thought it was funny.
Oh yeah, I know it's a great show and a great comparison, like I said. But it also seems like you use cannabis as like a means of like recovering, from what I can tell. It seems like a good recuperative sort of tool for you and stuff like that. Can you speak to some of the benefits that cannabis has, in recovering from hard training and sparring and all that?
Well, I really only used it for sleep. I have really bad sleep apnea, and I don't know what I want to call it apnea. I have insomnia, and I don't sleep very well. So for me, it's just kind of a way for me to wind down at night. I love using topicals for my muscles. I remember when I hurt my wrist in a boxing fight, it was the only thing that I could put on before my training that afterwards I still felt okay, and I knew it was taking the inflammation out. So I think there's so many great benefits from cannabis, both THC and CBD, that work really well for athletes. It's a struggle though, because we can't test positive for it. So switching to CBD during my camps and getting this boiled down and making sure that I'm healthy is a big plan. But I'm hoping that changes in the future.
Yeah, it seems like there's some level of awareness that's growing as far as like there's a certain like THC threshold and certain considerations for CBD having some utility in that regard. So it seems like there's some growth, but more work to be done for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a very ignorant topic, and people just don't have the testing that we've done. It's not performance enhancing at all. If anything, it makes you lazy. I guess a certain strain, but it's just something that I think that should be not overlooked, but it should be used as a medical product in the sport to help the sport, not as something that's going to make it worse. So people think that it's just a bad drug because it's not.
Yeah, I think that awareness will come with time for sure. But something I was also noticing, like some of the people you train and stuff like that, like it seems like Wiz Khalifa and Joe Jonas you get in some training with and whatnot. And to that point, I'm kind of curious, like if there's certain genres of music or go-to artists that you really like to train to when you're preparing for fights.
Oh, I'll listen to anything from R&B to country to some weird old techno. It all depends on what I'm doing and it's how I feel at the moment. But there's really no specific genre. Everyone that I've worked with, I'm huge fans of. I love Wiz's music. I love Joe's music. OT walked me out last time, and he's doing great right now. There's just a lot of people in the gym who are just great at what they do, and they actually inspire me when I come into the gym. Like, you guys they work really hard in the gym, and I teach them boxing, and they go really hard at it. So I know that they go just as hard in the gym as they do with their music, and they're making great progressions in their careers, and they're doing amazing. So why can't I do it with the things that I love? And it just makes me fight harder, and listening to their music and knowing them just makes it even more meaningful to me.
Yeah, that's a great mindset to have. But you mentioned that memorable entrance you had there. Do you have anything similar planned for this one, in as far as like someone walking you out or anything like that?
We're hoping that OP wants to come back, because he's just a great person. He's in the gym with me. We've done some wrestling drills together when they put us in the gym. So it's good to know that someone like him is there for me and respects me and supports me. And I would be so happy if he were to come back. I know his music is probably not the what the public wants to hear, but he's just, like I said, as a person, he's amazing and great, and he works hard on what he does, and that's what inspires me and why I want him in my corner.
Yeah, for sure. I love the mutual support that is present there from what I can tell. But you've been really great with your time. I'm curious if there's anything you'd like to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, though.
I would like to say I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about MMA. I'm glad that I know I've jumped into this sport, and some people have respected and brought me in, and some people are throwing me out early, which is great too, because that's part of the sport, is knowing that people don't want you there, or people don't support you, so you don't have to worry about them, but you just worry about the people who are supporting you and positive, and you fight for them. So I just want people to know I'm there for the people who want me in there.
I think that's a great lesson that a lot of people can really learn from, for sure. But I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this fight January 25th. Bellator 238 is a preliminary bout. Emilee Gettys taking on Ava Knight. And just really appreciate all the time and insights. It was a great time talking to you. And best of luck with the rest of your preparations. And enjoy the rest of your night as well.
Yeah, thank you. You too.